Hi, Isaac. Welcome to the Leanpub launch video for The Cave, Competing Against Incumbents. I was wondering if you could take a few minutes just to talk a little bit about yourself and about this new book.
Right. So thanks for the opportunity to present the book. It has been launched for quite some time now, but it's a good idea to give people a bit of a summary of what this book is about. So I'm an engineer by training, by education, and over time I did an MBA. I got involved with the business, and I've been running businesses for the last few years. And the book is basically a summary of around maybe 15 years of experience, or maybe even more, about how incumbent companies behave in the market. So who's an incumbent, right? It's a company that has been there for a while. They have been doing something quite successfully. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been existing for so long. And seeing situations both from within incumbents and from the other side, from the side of the contender, and also working for incumbents as a distribution company in Greece. I have seen how things happen, both when you're in the incumbent and how you are outside of it and trying to fight the incumbent. So the book's full title is actually The Cave, Competing Against Incumbents. And it's a book that aims to help people who are fighting against incumbents or are within incumbents who need to change, to look at how the situation, the condition of this incumbency leads companies to do things in a manipulative way, in a way that actually acts against their own interests, just to keep people in the allegorical cave of Plato's Allegory of the Cave.
Yeah, so that's a really great. It's a really great. If you're familiar with Plato's Allegory of the Cave, this sort of makes sense, and it's a brilliant idea for this subject. And if you're not familiar with it, you're going to be blown away by it when you learn about it. But Isaac, could you take a moment just to talk a little bit about Plato's Allegory of the Cave and what that's all about?
Right. So the Allegory of the Cave is, so to simplify, have you watched The Matrix? It's basically Allegory of the Cave, right? The idea is that it questions the perception of reality in a way, and the idea is that there's a cave somewhere in the bowels of the earth, and there are prisoners held in the cave by guards, and the guards they cast shadows, and that's what the prisoners see in the cave. So the prisoners don't see the guards, of course cannot see the surface, so cannot see reality, and do not even look at a representation of reality. So they see just shadows on the wall cast by the guards, passing some shapes in front of the flames. And the question, the whole story, the allegory is about how it's about the nature of knowledge and what you can really tell what's actually happening. So it also describes what would happen if someone in the cave would try to escape from the cave. So what happens if the first, let's say, adopter of your product tries to escape the grip of an incumbent? If you're a contender and you're fighting against an incumbent, you want to get people who are already customers of incumbent out of the cave where the incumbent has placed them in.
Yeah, that's one of the things I got to say. That's one of the things that makes it such a great metaphor if you're familiar with the allegory, because what it's saying is that as coming in as a competitor to an incumbent, the incumbent has kind of shaped people's perceptions of the world, of that service or that product, or drinking that soft drink or whatever it is. They've shaped the world that people perceive around that business. And so one thing you have to do, I gather, is what you're saying is you have to sort of understand, at least begin with understanding that that's the situation you're dealing with as a new competitor.
Right. So the book explores the situation in terms of what an incumbent does to a market, the customers, how it puts them in the cave and keeps them in the cave, fed with what I call slow drip innovation, a bit of better product now, a facelift there, just enough so that they don't lose market share, and hopefully they can maintain it or even grow it based on elements of the product or characteristics or specifications that actually are not that great, but they just provide justification for people to keep being customers of the incumbent. And so it explores what you have to do as a for example, a product manager, a general manager of a contender, to get the customers of the incumbent out of the cave, and also explores, okay, so what do you need to fight against? You need to fight against what you just said, Len, that you need to fight against the perception that the incumbent has created, that everything is fine. The best thing you can have is what we already produce. Of course, our product is the best because we are the biggest, and we are the biggest because our product is the best. And this whole marketing, I've seen it from within incumbents, so two of them, plus how a third one with whom I've worked now for years has done this. And I've also seen it from the other side. And you realize after a while that what you also want to do as a contender, just to be very, very frank, is you want to create your own cave. And that's the honest piece, right? You are a contender because you want to get market share. And you can play this more honestly with marketing or less. After a point when your company grows, the problem is that people become the guards of the procession, the procession of the guards that keeps people in the cave. So, it's not that the incumbent is a bad one and the contender is the good one, is that you need to get people from where they are, expose them to the surface, to the reality, as is in the procession of the cave, in the allegory of the cave of Plato. But you also want to put them in your own cave. And so to be very, very frank.
Yeah, no, that's so well said, and it's great to be so honest about it. And I mean, there's an example of this unfolding before us right now in the form of basically EVs and specifically, let's say, Tesla. Yes. So the incumbent car industry had you convinced that for socials that your car was a fit thing for social status, that its size and newness, mattered and things like that. That specifically to get an improved version, you needed to buy a brand new one.
Yeah.
And then Tesla comes around and is like, we're going to boast about how few moving parts there are. Oh, there's that. We're going to boast about how few moving parts there are. We're going to give you updates for free. And so you're going to get and they're going to be very standardized in their look. So you can get different colors and stuff like that. We're also going to sell them to you from like online and things like that instead of having to go to a dealer and things like that. And so all of these things are dramatically changing your perception of what it means to be a car owner, how to buy a car, things like that. But it is just another cave of its own from a certain perspective.
The interesting part is that it works across different situations. Like of course, I'm not saying that I have somehow taken Plato's allegory of the cave and somehow it's a magical thing that you can apply anywhere. This is the only thing you should look at. But it's an interesting lens because if you look at what, for example, Apple, and I've used Apple, I've used Microsoft in the past, Windows Phone, I've been using Android now. I keep going back and forth every so many years. Exactly because every time somebody places me in their cave, I realize after a while that, hey, the other cave also had some benefits, and I don't want to get locked in. But it's a fact that some companies manage to put you in a cave very successfully. And Apple, if you see how fervent Apple fans are, and we all know people call them fanboys, which is a rather derogatory term, but there are good arguments for being an Apple fan, right? Being an Apple customer. And Apple does it majestically what they do. They put you in the cave and they feed you with rather what you can call slow follower, rarely fast follower innovation. It's not really innovation, just copying things from Android, for example, that have been there for quite some time. But the way they package it, the way they cast the shadow of those features on the wall of the cave is so great that people go, wow, this is so innovative. And that's totally fine. But if you are on the other side, you won't compete. How do you break through this? And the book also offers some ideas of what you need to do. Plus, something which I think it's more related to my background of helping teams get unstuck, help organization get unstuck, is that the book also tells you that if you are part of an incumbent organization, very successful, it tells you what the long-term effects are of laying that too much. Like, okay, you put people in the cave and you keep feeding them this. What happens? You atrophy in terms of the innovation. And you could also make the argument that Apple finds itself in that situation right now. In many of its products, not anymore as exciting as it used to be. And it keeps trying now to find something that's going to be wow, something fantastic. So there's a warning story there too for the incumbent. Creating a cave means that you put your own organization in the cave long term, because you cannot have people talk about your products in one way and at the same time maintain the cognitive dissonance that, we say those things, but we know we put people in the cave. So it's a tricky situation.
Yeah, and as anyone can tell from this discussion, that the book has a rich source of all kinds of these very sort of interesting grab you, but like kind of complex insights with a lot to unpack. It's called The Cave, Competing Against Incumbents. I recommend if you're interested in companies and innovation and the cave that you're in right now with respect to the products you use, you definitely give it a read. So thank you very much, Isaak, for taking some time to let us video. Thanks.
Thank you.